please help me welcome up our first poet, Ryan Bellows.
Hey, thank you all for being out here tonight. I think I got everyone, but I brought these Writers Circle Euro stickers here for anybody that wants one that reads tonight or not, but it looks like everybody here's probably got one. All right, so this first piece I want to read is I found this in a Word file, document file. I think it's like something I wrote in an email to someone. I'm really not even sure who, but I saved it for some reason. I'm really impressed with the togetherness in the Flint arts community. Everyone here seems to work together for the most part. Everyone supports another positive efforts in our community. It's a strong community. There's folks here I've known for over 20 years, and they make room for the younger folks that make their way into our circle. Presently, there's a big movement in creating art and inspiring young artists. I'm excited to see what happens with these young artists. Many of them have great potential. It's different here than in other communities. In Ann Arbor, where I lived for a few years, they have a thriving arts community that is recognized all around the world, but artists and patrons are always coming and going from there. There isn't the same bond there as we have in Flint. When I make connections in the community, I may return to it 10 years later and I'll still find many of the same people still doing the same things even better than they did before. I may meet some real interesting and talented people in Ann Arbor that if I return to that community in 10 years, it seems I'd have a harder time finding those old connections that I used to know. So. All right. Food for thought, I guess, man. All right, so the Writer Circle's been going on again here on Thursday nights at 7, and so we pick a topic a few times now, and one of them recently was infatuation. So I'm just gonna read you guys what I came up with. I am no stranger to infatuation. Many times over, my thoughts have fell upon a fair maiden that caught my attention. I think the infatuation begins when you begin to mention to any passers-by about the interest you had found in such a lovely lady. Then people look at you like you're crazy. In their mind, you're falling under an illusion, participating in love's confusion as though you've forsaken all of the things for her, as though she is the only thing that matters for a crumbling world in tatters. Infatuation is a distraction, an interaction of your mind involving things that feel just fine, always there in the passing time as you struggle or unwind. It's a place and time reserved for the moment when you haven't the strength alone to face the world before you, and there's this girl who wants to know you. All right. Thanks, man. You guys are awesome. This next one is actually a preview of my Voices project that I'm working with Jennie Moench this time. And Voices is going to be March 29th at the Greater Flint Arts Council from like noon to 6 or whatnot. Anyways, Jennie's working on a painting for this poem here. It was from my MySpace blog. Originally it was titled Pushing Her Cart. Vexed bag ladies ponder the very many possibilities that any given day might produce. There never is any knowledge that exists to tell you exactly what is going to happen that very day, which direction might take you to the place that you seek to shelter and anticipate the length of your visit. Meal to meal to meal, patiently making their way through life tattered, a life that has long been destroyed. Various reasons unknown, this lady found herself abandoned, alone, and pushing her cart. Thanks, man. So this is my real quick, this was my submission to the Flint HorrorCon's 2-sentence horror story. And then I'll let you guys all do your thing. Before I knew it, the medication had taken effect as the whiteness of my surroundings closed in on me. I could hear them rolling the gurney down the hall to collect me and take me to the lobotomy room.
Keep up for Ryan Bellows. I love Flash Fiction. That was pretty cool. So again, he mentioned Voices. That's an upcoming event the Creative Alliance does that I encourage all of you guys to participate in. It's basically a visual artist and spoken word artist collaborative event where they kind of team up and they produce work based on each other's themes. And it's a really cool thing we do every year. If you're interested out there in TV land and getting on that, contact us here at the Creative Alliance. Here's the URL. And it's cool for them. You guys can't see it, but just come talk to us after this and we'll hook you up with the same cool perks. So up next, so I'm really excited. Everyone here seems to have brought new work, so I just want to give everybody the stage and that same level of respect. So please help me eagerly welcome up Rachal Stock to the stage.
Yeah.
Hey everybody. Thanks for being here with all of us. Anyways, this one's called Redemption. There was a dog barking into the blackness, a sickle moon, discarded thumb clipping of God. The stars there unpredictable winking, blinking out all the solutions to my future mistakes. I am small, grieving, mean-tempered, vain, I'm arrogant. The same insecure girl-grown woman, my awkward limbs, a painfully slow migration toward cleanliness. If I need anything, I want redemption. So we're not in tune with the microphone tonight. Okay, so here's the last one I'm going to read, because we're in a hurry, and I've written really crappy poetry since the last time I saw all of you, so kind of weird. Okay, so anyways, here we go. Summer Swan Song. This morning I stare into a pan at an egg and I realize I could weigh the sum total of my desire against the brilliant yellow yolk. It's one of those days where even though the fall is pressing its poison into the earth, summer's swan song persists with mild, comforting breezes. The cattle, lazy from warmth, lay in the pasture and use their tails to snap at flies, and the chickens, sensing winter, furiously peck and claw, all the while I hem and haw in mourning. We are merely grasping.
All right.
Thank you.
Rachal, everybody. So I'm always impressed by the range of styles we have here at this open mic. So without further ado, please help me welcome Alex to the stage.
Bear with me. You and I both don't know what it would be like to be a woman. Lopsided, top-heavy, obsessed with one's hair, finding nothing wrong with high heels, embracing their obvious structural flaws in the name of fashion. We both don't carry a purse. We put our wallets in our pockets. It's more efficient and convenient that the most important things we own are not hanging loosely by a shoulder strap. Bear with me. You claim to be such an expert at the ladies, but you will never be one. You can't fathom what they endure. What it must be like to possess an orifice where so many indescribable things enter and exit. Anyway, I hope you make sure you get the green light before you do what you do. Bear with me, but I wonder how you really feel about red lipstick and too much eyeshadow. What does that do for you? Do you really prefer that they reek of flowers, their striking waft that follows them as you turn around and whiff? Bear with me. I don't ask that they dress up for an ongoing theatrical performance they never get right. Bear with me. But this whole thing confuses me. Pink isn't your favorite color, mine neither, but we're just attracted by it? Bear with me. When I was a little kid, I thought the straight thing to do was to prefer female singers over male singers. And so I sung along with Madonna and liked Bruce Springsteen from a distance. I'm sorry to take up your time. I don't think you're stupid. I just identify with you, and in a way I want to be more like you. but I don't want to be less like myself. Excuse me as I find a middle ground here in my head where I am unfortunately antagonized. I don't mean to antagonize you. I just don't appreciate your fresh meat comment. And I wonder how much of that you are committed to. I see no meat, just soft skin and nice eyes and a likable face. Yes, I see a body. I see how she is gently tugged by the undertow between me and her, but she is too young for me. And the energy and the compulsions that pass through me, the frenzy that wouldn't know exactly what to do. Should I only do 2 or should I do 3?
Do 2 and we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, you know, racism is another sensitive issue. It's not racist, in my opinion, to recognize that someone is black and you are white, and to sort of, make that distinction or talk about other people's skin color or whatnot.
Disclaimer.
You know. Well, of course it's not racist. A shade darker. Arthur and I estimate its relevance. It's not that it's irrelevant. It's not that it's an issue between us. We stop, we keep going, we wonder what we are talking about right now. His eyes a shade darker than his already dark skin, as if black sunlight was cast over the land. Art says, and so you know my people are hurting, man, big time. We are at our job inside the Flint Township Goodwill on the donations dock, slacking off a little. I try to tell Art that I don't consider white people to be my people. I almost tell him that I share his anger. I don't share his anger, but I know it's hard. I wonder if I really do know it's hard. I decide that I really don't. Art says, man, it starts the moment we come out of the pussy. He places his hands flat on his face, then spreads them open as if to say, peekaboo. Art pretended that his hands were a vagina. A visual representation that I brought no additional attention to until now. We talk about crime among young black men, the escalation and the insanity that pits men against their own kind in this, the city where we work.
All right, bear with me a bit. I have a hard time reading my own writing. This is called The Man at the End of the Bar. Although he believed the world looked at him as talentless, a complete nobody and anything but noteworthy, inside he was boiling over with a belief that he was something special. He was here for a reason. He had a purpose. He didn't know what it was, but he was sure he had one. All he needed now was a moment, his moment, and he would shine. He spent his time daydreaming over pint glasses and fell asleep every night with thoughts of his perfect moment. Saving a crying and distraught child from a building dancing in flames, rescuing a woman yelling for help from some predator in the shadows, tackling a man on a rampage, shooting off his gun in a public place. Sorry, trying to get comfortable here too. Stopping the bleeding of a family in a terrible accident on the freeway. A moment to make the 5 o'clock news. His 15 minutes of fame. He could perfectly imagine the sounds of the cheering crowds, adoring cacophonic surge of applause, and feel the attaboy pats on his back. All he could think of was saving the day, his reason, his purpose. He knew if only a moment was presented to him, he could be the hero. And even more so, he was positive he was supposed to be. He was here for a reason, he had a purpose. All he was waiting for was his moment, the burning bush, the anointing oil, an act from God. All he was waiting for was his moment. He never realized that sometimes you have to make your moment. God helps those who help themselves. So instead, he drank himself stupid while being and remaining always and forever stagnant, always dreaming, always wanting, always hoping for his moment, while learning every detail at the bottom of a pint glass, filled with 1,000 blasphemies against God and even more excuses for himself. Ooh, let's see if I can figure this one out. Man, I gotta learn to write better. This is called The Wastelands. The pickup truck approached in rusted reds with the occasional white blotch, chugging on what had to be its last leg. He came out from the haze of the oasis that danced above the concrete where the road bent out of view into eternity. A less desperate man would have waited for better, but in circumstance, my chariot awaited. Not to mention, my thumb was getting tired and options were obviously scarce. I could tell by his sunburnt neck, worn hands and missing incisor, that there was more wisdom to be found in him than any goddamn scholar. Where you heading, he asked. However far you can take me, I told him. And with that, he became my friend, my brother, for the next 3 hours. Welcome to the wastelands, he told me on our journey as mile after mile of landscape passed with minimal change in scenery. I struggled to get comfortable. It had been over 24 hours since my last fix. He noticed my twitches, my uncomfortability and fidgeting. In the war of dealing with the day, he was a fellow brother in arms. In dealing with the day, the war it brings, we both handled it by assaulting our arms. And together we ventured the wastelands, the great American West. Conversation focused on what we had in common. We had both lived a life in which the nearest spoon to us was so covered in junk our reflections became unnoticeable to ourselves. And we both had stabbed ourselves so many times it was a miracle we had not yet bled to death. Look at all that, he said, as the sun set over a terrain reminiscent of a cartoon recycling backdrops to save on a little bit of cash. Some may say, how can you not believe in God looking at such creation? I say, he could have done better. What a bunch of shit. Here's the thing, my traveling friend, if they are right that he exists, they might as well be right that we are in his image. And if that's true, save your prayers. Because the only thing looking out for you, the bodily image of him, and so he is the reflection of me, is a self-doubting, self-loathing, alcoholic, drug addict son of a bitch, with his dick hanging in the wind and no idea what the fuck is going on. He had that right. He compounded on his blasphemous ideas as we traveled through the dark, and right up until the moment that he dropped me off, leaving me a little further from nowhere, a little closer to somewhere, with a whole lot more to think about. So to my Buddha of the desert, here is my prayer as I lay myself down to sleep. Nothing more than happiness, if but one thing, happiness. The way I see it, if come tomorrow I find it, I'll give all credit to you. And if something of the likes of you can grant such a prayer, in your image I shall make him, and all my faith shall be reassured. Thanks for the ride, my friend, my brother, and the company while traversing those wastelands.
Hi, everybody. They're pretty loud out there. We try to be louder in here. I wrote this poem for today. Those of you who don't know it, today's National Coming Out Day, 2014, October 11th. So, my rainbow tie-dye on. So I wrote a writing, I guess, not really a poem, but I wrote something for today. And it's, we had attended the coming out monologues at U of M Flint. They were Thursday night. And I wrote this because I was really moved by the variety of the people's readings of their coming out stories. Got me thinking about my own journey and the many stages of me coming out at different times in my life and what I had experienced in my last 62 years. I wrote this for me. It's an expression of self, but I knew I needed to share it with others, so here goes. 25 years out of the closet, a closet now abundant with rainbow tie-dye. It's October 11th, National Coming Out Day 2014. I'm living proof that a child of two heterosexual parents can be a homosexual. I was raised in a loving home by my mom and dad, who, by the way, were married for 57 years, till death they did part. I often wonder how they would have reacted if they knew their daughter was a lesbian. After all, up until their passing, I was a wife and a mother of two in my early 30s, living a splendid life in the suburbs with my gainfully employed husband, Greg, bowling on a couples league, playing softball on the couples fun league, partying with the straight couples in the neighborhood, going to their holiday gatherings, getting drunk and flirting with each other. One year we even hosted a toga party at our house. Yep, that was the life. Or was it? I came out in 1989, just before Greg and I would celebrate our 10th anniversary. Technically, we'd been together for 15 years at that point, since we didn't marry right away. I still remember the feelings surrounding my coming out to him. I was scared, sad, hurting inside. I was grieving and very nervous. It may have been suspected on his part, since by then I had been hanging around with several lesbians for almost a decade. I was hosting and producing a weekly radio show on WFBE, which was then public radio in Flint, since 1980. It was called Face the Music. I was the only straight woman on the program. The other Face the Music women all knew, though, it was just a matter of time and I'd join the lesbian league with them. Some of these women were friends with Greg and I, coming to dinner at our house, socializing with us on a regular basis. He liked them and accepted them for who they were. But now the tables were turned when he realized his wife was a lesbian and was leaving him for a woman. My first lesbian relationship. We shared hugs and tears for what seemed like hours. I never quit loving him. Even now I still love him. Yet for me to continue in my marriage knowing I didn't belong there seemed so unfair to him. I believe in being honest and was not going to live a double life. It took months for us to actually divorce. When we did, we walked into the courtroom of the Honorable Judith Fullerton, Judge Judith Fullerton, holding hands and comfortable with our decision to part. She questioned me 3 times. Was there any chance of reconciliation? No, 3 times. Divorce granted. I know our unusually loving attitude mystified many in the courtroom that day, but we gave each other the freedom to get on with our lives, and we did. Truthfully, I wouldn't have done anything differently. Everything that happened was meant to be. All the people I've crossed paths with during my childhood, teens, 20s, marriage to Greg, divorce, coming out into my first lesbian relationship of 11 years, breakup, and finding my forever partner were meant to teach me what I needed to know, to experience a myriad of emotions from the lows to the highs in life and to come out on top, older and wiser. No regrets. I have 2 adult children who are happily heterosexual, 2 beautiful grandchildren, an ex-husband who still loves and cares about me, who was able to connect with and marry a childhood friend of his the year after our divorce, 33 years ago. My kids, Zach and Mac, don't really remember me any other way than a lesbian since they grew up with it. And now I celebrate my life with Marietta, the woman I call my best friend of 30 years, companion and lover for 14 years, the person I shall grow old with, the one who can finish my sentences, the one who can communicate with me in sign language, the one who holds me tightly and kisses me deeply and knows me inside and out. She puts up with my shortcomings as I do hers, and we agree to disagree at times, but mostly agree. We deserve each other. Honestly, we never fight. So here's to all the people who have decided to be true to themselves. And to those who have not yet made the decision to come out, you may find the courage and the strength, may you find the courage and the strength to bust down that closet door and walk out with your head held high and get on with your lives. Although this is only the abbreviated version of my coming out story, I hope you get the gist of it. I wouldn't have changed a thing. It was all meant to be. I'm happy to be the woman-loving woman, ecstatic to share it with you on National Coming Out Day. just one short one. My daughter Mackenzie's birthday is tomorrow. She lives in Colorado. But I sent her a card a number of years ago for her birthday, and it had this poem that I had written for her, and so I'm just going to read it. Does anybody speak Spanish? Anyone? No? Yeah, there's never anybody who speaks Spanish when I want to read this poem. Okay, well, the name of the poem is Su madre le ama para siempre. Your mother will love you forever. Gone are the days of childhood past. Your womanly quest is calling. So open your mind, your heart, your soul, and abandon the fear of falling. For love is the only falling you need. To fall in love is bliss. But remember to love yourself the most, or your lover's hand you'll miss. May you live your life in a peaceful world which honors your creative spirit. The passion you hold for life itself is sure to find endearment. So whatever challenges come your way, with every new tough endeavor, I hope these words will remain with you. Your mother will love you forever.
No pressure. I'm going to go strictly handheld. Thank you. The rain doesn't fall in my face because it hates me, or so I hear. The sun doesn't shine on my face out of love either. And I guess that the moon isn't following me from place to place, peeking at me with solemnity from behind clouds and buildings. Well, ain't that something? All right. This is a poem about getting drunk and making out with somebody.
Oh, okay.
I think a lot of us have been there before, right? I might have thought that it was just a particularly vivid dream if my clothes and my hands hadn't still smelled like your perfume when I woke up. Lips just a bit bruised and body aching a little from the after effects of the alcohol and all of that, not getting much in the way of sleep stuff. But who knows? Maybe it was a dream that we both had, only to be alluded to obliquely in the less forgiving light of sober day. Still, if I may be candid, I really liked that dream. Sad thing is she doesn't even remember doing it.
Story of my life.
Oh, you're so... Alright, and I got a couple new ones here, so...
Yeah.
Oh, no. Actually, I have four new ones. They're all very short, but they are poems. Okay. Hey, fiddle, faddle up the creek without a paddle. The cow jumped for the moon, but she crashed. The dog is crying while it digs through the trash. The dish and the spoon, well, they never met. Still searching for love amidst the dining set. A rare excursion into rhyming poetry. It happened by accident, I don't know. Oh, sweetest fruit that ever called from an unreachable branch. You are as juicy in my eyes, in my imagination, as I dreamed that you would be in my mouth. And having been brought up Catholic, I know that the thought is the same as the action. So I may as well have had that juice running down my chin, the joy of the thought sharpened by the sweetness of the sin. I'm licking my fingers and dreaming again. You speak to me in songs and poems and patterns of light. Oh, my lover who I have never touched with fingers or lips, my sister in sunlight and smoke, my friend who laughs aloud and cries with sweet, bitter abandon. We are connected by ones and zeros, and the postman brings me artifacts that your dancing fingers have touched. I see a tiny stain on a page. Is it tea? Food? Whatever it is, I kiss the darkness and imagine a smile breaking through a cloud of sweet, pungent smoke, and I will bask in that. And one last short poem. This is called Sleep. Sleep slipped like a stripper onto his lap and pressed herself against his body, holding him in place. She was surprisingly strong. And slowly, so very slowly, pressed a pillow over his face, humming softly and purring as it got darker and darker. Sleep loved that Ben Webster album, Atmosphere for Lovers and Thieves. When the record ended, she danced like moonlight on water to the crackles and pops of the vinyl. She danced to his low, shallow breaths. She curled up next to him and listened to him snore and waited for morning. The end. Thank you.
Howdy, everyone. I won't take up much of your time. I only have one to share tonight. But it's called Mr. Right. When did we come up with this concept? When girls sat around dreaming of the men in the shining armor coming to sweep her off her feet, to take her away from the pain and to slay the drama dragon. When a television Photoshop becomes a girl's fantasy, coming from a girl who has sat long enough, he's not coming. The concept is fake, an idea created to help us sleep at night. While started with no harm, something created to make us dream again, it has become more than a dream. For most, it has become their reality. I tell you now, there is no shining armor. The perfect man is tattered and torn from the battles that he has faced and won. He comes not on a stallion, but with a sword in one hand and a flower in the other, not picking you up from the dust as if you were weak, but standing next to you, fighting with you. So as much as you are looking for Mr. Right, he is not looking for damsel in distress. He is looking for a girl who can pick up that sword and fight along with him while wearing 6-inch heels. So ladies, don't fear. He is out there, but don't be afraid to stand on your own while you wait. Just do it fabulously.
Oh, wait. No, I'm just kidding. So, I'm really excited because there's so many people here. We get to share this awesome poetry with. This is one of my favorite events every couple of months, and I hope you guys will join us next time too. We got a few more poets to go. Up next, and I wasn't here 2 months ago, so Terry can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is her first time on the stage too, so you guys know you gotta show her lots of love. Please help me welcome Sara to the stage. Oh, well, give her love anyways.
It's a name change. Oh, that's a little different.
There you go.
No one can pronounce it, and I kind of like that.
Your turn.
I hate when I turn it on. Yeah, I'm recently divorced. It wasn't because I came out, though. I came out way before I was divorced. My ex is bi, and I came out as bi, and then I came out as queer, and then as I kept learning new things, and I came out as pan. But when I came out, the funniest thing that someone said to me was, "But you're married, and you have kids." As if that means you don't find women incredibly sexy or something. It made no sense to me, and it blew my mind that someone would just be like, "Oh, you're married, you can't be gay." It's like, well, yeah, you can. And hopefully, pretty soon, everyone can be gay and married, and that'll just be a really amazing day. So, all marriage should be gay, really. You should be happy, you're As long as the parts are amazing and things are going great, who cares? But I'm not reading my own stuff because I haven't written anything in a really long time except for like a singular line that's still just hanging in my brain. I've kind of been out of the art loop for a while and trying to get back into it. And I found a book that has an amazing title. This is called The Zen of Shaving One's Balls. It's a self-published little thing by a guy named R.T. Lafayette, who lives in Canada, who I'm actually people searching and trying to find him. I haven't talked to him in probably a decade. And I was in love with this man, and he's Buddhist, but he's Buddhist in a way that is just not sitting underneath the tree doing nothing. It's about trying to connect old world things with new world things. And the poem I wanted to read was that poem, but it's so long, and it'll probably take me way too long. So I don't know, if there's time, maybe I'll do it later. But I'm gonna read some of his shorter ones. The first one I want to do is called Suppressed Growth. I like to plant seeds, then place large stones over the upturned dirt. This forces a flower or vine to find a path around the obstacle. Should it fail to do so, it will most certainly die. However, nearly all succeed, and life persists. It's very fitting in life. I mean, some people are self-sabotagers. I know I've been guilty of that the vast majority of my life, and that's kind of what it feels like. The next one is called The Beauty of a Storm. She has the power of many storms. Her tears as rain upon my skin, her voice thunderous at times when the world stops making sense and the beauty of light shimmering off a cloud in the distance. But that she stands before me, so close, still I cannot touch, till she calms and the storm fades. This one is called A Little Sanity by My Pen Made Me Write This. I try not to keep all of my sanity in one location. Heavens no, that simply would not do. So I place a little here by my dresser that I might ask it for guidance when I must get dressed in the morning. No purple polka dot ties, if you please. Heavens no. Don't you know that simply will not do? A bit of sanity by the toilet to remind me to wipe. Some by the television informing me when my bedtime has come. A piece by the toaster for when I approach with a knife to free my bagel from the silver beast. A little here, a little there. I tried once to keep it in all one location, but found that it was then only useful in that one place. I lost it then. Only momentarily, though. Found it the next day. Oh, what a night that was. Nope, almost done. So now I sprinkle my sanity liberally where, rather, it feels it can serve me best. It works. Heaven, yes, it does. Now it's done. This is something more, this section is called etc. because it's all this weird stuff. And this one made me laugh so loud today because of the location of where I was reading at the time was fitting for the poem. It's called Childlike Expressions. Make faces while you poop every single time. In the breath of that moment, in the tilt solitude of your washroom, contort your face into childlike expressions of wonder and awe. Grimace loudly without making a sound till the splash hits your bum. Then laugh, perhaps giggle, and pray no one is waiting by the door. You've all seen kids poop.
Do you have that line that's in your head?
What?
Do you share that line that's been rattling around your head?
The line that's been in my head is My Little Black Rain Cloud. You know that song? I'm just a little black rain cloud. Yeah. My little black rain cloud is a hurricane.
Yes.
And I'm in the eye of it. One move out of direction, caught in the storm and swept away. That's my line.
That's great.
Thank you. It's not done, it needs more.
Alright, so we're rounding out the end of the list. I know I got a few possible people. Got a possible over here who didn't confirm. I got a possible in the back who's always on deck. But I'd like to bring up Jennie Moench to the stage now. You might know her from being that lady behind the camera all the time, or from the Flint Underground show. But she's also a published author, so she's going to read from her new book. Please help me welcome Jennie to the stage.
Okay. I know you guys probably might not even know this, but yeah, I write novels. I wrote like 3 of them. The reason you don't know is because nobody ever reads them. So anyway, but so I was thinking about doing another novel, and I was kind of, but I do like scary stuff, and it'd be about this person that can project themselves into other people, be reincarnated. And now he's starting to be able to do that with animals, like dogs, when it's necessary. So I needed to write from the perspective of a dog, like how it would mess with you, Anyway, so I started watching my dog. This is my dog. See how proud he is, he's like, and I could see, and yet, he lets the other little dog beat him up. So I think it's sort of like just he's trying to make people think he's cool, like he's. But he's really not as confident. But anyway, so and these little things just started coming out funny, and so I started reading them, and so then I wrote like 8 of them, and I'm going to read them, and I printed it into a book, tells them a practical dog, and this is the proof. It's not really finished, I got to fix a few things, but I even illustrated it because it's a book, storybook for adults with dogs. And because the other thing, unfortunately, that I'm noticing is that most people don't have the attention span to read a whole novel, so I thought maybe this might be solvable. So anyway, chapter 1. He was a practical dog, usually not a slave to undeserved vanities. Yet he was humiliated by the length of his tail, cut off at an embarrassing length by the vanity of his egotistical owner of his mother, probably jealous of her own lack of an additional appendage. She had the end of his spine permanently terminated into this hideous bob. Humans are so indifferent to the indignity of their fellow males. His job was to guard the perimeter, and he took it seriously. He strutted around the house, keeping a keen eye with no doubt for invaders. Once satisfied, he took his usual spot at the base of a large oak hidden from the sidewalk, yet carefully peering around the tree trunk, he had the clear view of anyone daring to tread across his sidewalk. He took pride in his stealth. Crouched down behind the tree, he silently waited until he detected footsteps. But not the loud, clumsy human kind. These were softer, more like a scampering sound. Looking up, he glimpsed something running down the back side of the tree. Startled, he perked up his ears and gaped at the creature with an indifferent stare as it ran at full speed across the yard without regard for his furious sentinel watching. This was annoying. It was an outrage. He looked after the bushy-tailed varmint and decided that he wanted to bite its tail. He wanted to put his paw in the middle of its back and look it straight in the eye so that he'd know that he existed. He moved slowly towards it as it stopped to nibble on something. Quietly, he moved behind it, ready to pounce. When the thing perked up its head and ran for cover, our hero gave chase through the hedge and cornered it against the chimney. Then it stopped, raised up on its hind legs, and began with this awful chatter. It was a high-pitched, terrible noise that would even have frightened a Great Dane. He wanted to retreat, but then he was struck by a new worry. If he turned around, the squirrel might get a glimpse of his malformed tail, then even worse. Thought from the squirrel's low vantage point, he might be able to see past his tail and get a view of the missing balls. Yet another abuse of power inflicted on him by a human, so vindictive, just because they lack the talent to be able to lick their own balls well. They make sure their best friend can't either. Just then the squirrel lunged out at him, catching his front paw. He felt a sharp pain. That made him yelp before the thing ran away. He looked down at his paw at a pink crescent shape that gradually turned to blood red. That vagrant yard varmint had bit him. A flood of panic, then helplessness temporarily washed away his pride. He felt the need to show his owner. She would know what to do. She would pet him and dress his wound. He walked carefully to the back door, giving it a pitiful scratch with his one good paw. Then for good measure, he began to sorrowful whine. Holding his injured paw up in a pathetic way, he anticipated her tender caress. In fact, he thought there might even be a biscuit in it for him. Here's a picture of this biscuit with his hurt paws. I'm going to have an opening book signing in December at Page's Bookstore for December Art Walk. And Jeremy Walter said he'd play music for me, and there's going to be another author there too. So, anyway, thanks.
And if you guys are interested in seeing this show or any other cool Flint Art Walk, some of the open mics we got going on in town, or even the Creative Alliance Showcase, which is a pretty popular arts cast we have going on, it's available online, flintunderground.org, also on YouTube, Flint Underground channel, and of course if you got Comcast Channel 17, Mondays at 6 p.m. So we're running out the list right now. I know we got this birthday bash coming in soon, and I don't want to keep them waiting. Drew, do you want to do a couple poems?
Sure.
All right, please help me welcome Drew Nelson to the stage.
I'm here. I've been here for a while. You're relatively indifferent to my existence, but I'm here. You brought me here. I share this space and this energy with you, and I watch. Every once in a while I share breakfast with you as you sit on your bed, eat cereal, and drink the rest of the pint of vodka from the night before. And you'll reach over and give me a little bit of the water that you have left over. I'm here when you confess love with your lips, with a pretty stranger that you just met, as we all know it's lust by the action of your hips. I'm here when you confess that you are happy to be alone, that you made this choice, that you are alone. You're happy as I watch you spend endless hours sitting on the floor writing, filling the void with any chemical that can make you feel a little bit indifferent. But what do I know? You should get some rest. I'm just a plant on your windowsill and you're high as hell. Thank you. I've been working that one out in my head for a while. I'm talking to the plant on my windowsill. Figure shit out.
We have all.
Alright, I wrote this one a couple years ago, I think. Not too far away and not too close to feel the energy of loving souls. Climbing mountains, adventures shared. Watched morning sun rise in the sky, then watched as evening fell in her eyes. My soul I've found speaks in wave, echoes the sound of love. Inside, that an angel draws out. I think, that's it. Yeah, I'm not a good reader. I can scratch real well though.
Yes.
He knows. Alright, like cigarettes and beer, together we're meant to be, both holding potential to be a fatal attraction. Closets full with skeletons of broken-hearted women, and a chest of broken men looking in. Learning from each other, the skeletons rebuild. By helping each other, the ships of love will sail. That's it. Thank you.
It's been a lot of fun with you guys tonight. I hope you come back in 2 months, this very room at this very same time on second Saturday? First Saturday in 2 months, which is pop quiz. What's 2 months from now? What month is that? December. Janet wins. So please help me welcome our last poet of the night, unless we got some brave people. I'm looking for hands. Okay, please help me welcome our last poet of the night. He is a local legend. He goes by many names, but you will call him the Farseer. Please help me welcome Terry to the stage.
right now. Like, I kind of like doing this, but in a way I kind of don't.
Get off the stage.
And I told him if we had time, I would do something, and I was kind of hoping we didn't have time.
We don't.
You know, I'll just say, since it's coming out of the closet day, that maybe you should, you know, maybe the word gay should be restored back to its original meaning. Since it was a subversive term to begin with, because people had to be in the closet more, and since they're out of the closet, a symbol of that might be not to call yourself gay anymore, since terms are always changing. It's just something to think about, you know what I'm saying? I think about a lot of weird things, you know. I would just say, if you're into praying once in a while, say a prayer for my brother. He's laying in critical condition, 3 bullet shots in his back in Little Rock, Arkansas right now, as of 2 nights ago. It's been real rough, tragic year for me. But you know, it's weird because I've always been such a happy-go-lucky guy, and I learned to swim through an ocean of BS, so, you know, I try not to let it bring me down too far. The doctor said he would live, so that's the important part, you know. I just hope, you know, pray that there's no long-term ramifications. Full recovery is what we need, you know. So I'm just gonna say a couple of these things real quick, you know. There's things I wrote, I stuffed in a bag at the last second. When Bellows pulled up, I made him wait. And I'll just say this. I watched you fall. I watched you fall. Hear the laughter. Hold you down, watch you drown. Life's disaster. You're the clown. You're the clown in this your chapter. Beat you down, watch you frown your darkened pasture. Get thee plastered, see you wasted, crying faces, led astray, washed away, lowly places. Watched you crawl, rain-soaked basement. Left questioning agony, I stand adjacent. I hear, I say, you will never find a way, you will never get away. Lonely me, follow me, see that we are happy as you can be. You attack, now I know you. Hold me back, knife to back, I expose you. Fool no more, this my fortune. Feet to ground, see you bound, I expunge you. Get thee back, see me free, noble vision. Found the path, watch my pain, pure decision. Standing tall, pure transition. Questing inside of me, found religion. I say you will never find a way to make me stay. Not only me, don't follow me, you will see that I will be truly happy as I can be. I'll try this one, see if you like it a little better. I had a dream of a clear night sitting in my room. Everything felt right, everything seemed new. But the back wall was a patio with a view to a lush green field sparkling with dew. So I stepped outside, barefoot in the grass, feeling so good I wondered how long would it last. This here was a feeling I would never let go as I strolled past the hills to where the tall trees grow. Hold up, wasn't city lights here the night before? And where's all the filth and waste I don't see no more? There was no dope fiends, no pushers, no pour, no shots, no sirens speeding by at 4. There was really no words to describe how I feel. Then I realized this must be just a dream. So silly of me to ever believe that this could ever be more than a dream. But there I remained, so I continued on. It's been a while since I seen the sunrise at dawn. I came to a clearing, saw a quaint little town. At the bottom of a valley I began to walk down. On my approach I saw so many children at play, and it's been a while since I seen the kids interacted this way, and everybody laughed and everyone got along, and the love in their hearts emanated so strong, and I was struck dumb, fascinated by the charm, and they welcomed me in with open arms. No news of recession, no violence, no war. If I'm dreaming, I don't want to be awake no more. It was then I took flight across the pale blue sky. Everyone cheered me on as I flew by. So free like a bird, I hope to come back soon. But my eyes began to open. I was back in my room. And I looked out my window, seeing that nothing had changed. But the depths of my soul, they would never be the same. I wonder if this could be, I wanted so badly to believe that this could be more than just a dream.
Sorry, Kinzie, so that was our last poet of the night. Unless someone wants to dig up some courage real quick and hit it with a freestyle or something off the dome. Okay.
Do it, Nick.
You guys don't want to hear what I got.
Freestyle, man.
Nah.
Sense of capital, baby.
Perverts treat posted properties like prostitutes. Scrappers are sadists, prying off siding like wrinkled panties heaped across flooding truck beds. Up the street, exploding houses served with horror and amazement and ecstasy of gas line fingering. The east side's horny hunger strokes hard through no hose zones trading copper for money shots. And I don't remember the rest of this poem, so I'm going to stop it right there. But I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Stay here for Michael A. And I'll see you guys December 1st, Saturday.